Watch this.
איפה שחמאס מנסה להרים את הראש, הוא פוגש את צה"ל.
That is just a little taste of what our holy IDF soldiers are doing in Lebanon every single day. It is unbelievable. Considering just a few months ago, the whole senior IDF intelligence security establishment in Israel were warning us not to go to war against Hezbollah in Lebanon, that the IDF soldiers were tired from fighting in Gaza, that the army is not prepared to fight Hezbollah, that Israel would pay too high a price with thousands of rockets by Hezbollah shot at our civilian population each and every day. Yet, to see the work our holy IDF soldiers are doing in South Lebanon today, despite all of those warnings and the whole IDF security establishment being against going to war in Lebanon against Hezbollah and Iran, it's unbelievable. Now, I haven't given you a war update in a while, so here you go. Yes, Hezbollah is still shooting rockets at us. Just today, Hezbollah rockets killed 5 in Metula. That is an Israeli town on the border. As my own sons fighting up north have told me, most of the houses and villages in southern Lebanon are empty, with the Hezbollah fighters having run away. But some remained, and there are some fights and ambushes still taking place. But most of the job we're doing is destruction, their whole terror. In Gaza, also, there is still some resistance with Hamas fighters, but very little. Most of the work our IDF soldiers in Gaza are doing is also focused on destroying the terror houses and tunnels. Our soldiers are standing strong, focused on dismantling terror operations, clearing threats, and securing Israel both in Gaza and South Lebanon. So, starting in South Lebanon, as you saw in the videos before, our IDF heroes are going village by village, house by house, uncovering and eliminating a massive cache of rockets, rocket launchers, ammunition, and terror tunnels that Hezbollah has embedded across the area. This IDF mission is reaching villages right up against our border and stretching even miles into Lebanon. Each operation reveals just how close these terror bases were to our homeland and doing a horrific infiltration massacre like October 7th thing. Because of these efforts, the IDF has called for all Lebanese residents living south of the Litani River to evacuate north, and they're evacuating. We are literally blowing up villages that Hamas turned into terror hubs, leveling both the rocket stockpiles and the tunnels. In an incredible turn, we're finding that most Hezbollah fighters have fled, but a few stayed behind, with some even surrendering, including a high-ranking Hezbollah officer who there's a video of him going around crawling, right? Crawling on the ground to surrender to our holy IDF soldiers. It's powerful proof of our soldiers' strength and the terror these fighters face, right? The Hezbollah fighters are facing when they encounter the IDF. Meanwhile, in Gaza, we're carrying out similar operations, clearing out the terror infrastructure of Hamas. Just like in Lebanon, many Gaza residents are evacuating, especially from northern Gaza, creating safer conditions for our soldiers to operate, and one day for us to live there, but that's not happening yet. And here's something extraordinary. Hundreds, if not thousands, of Hamas terrorists are also surrendering in Gaza. These are incredible, humbling sights as we watch these terrorists lay down their weapons and stand there in groups or on the ground in groups in the face of our IDF soldiers. We are seeing a powerful shift on the ground thanks to the courage, commitment, and focus of our holy IDF soldiers. Keep them in your prayers and share their stories and all the videos going around showing about the unbelievable work we're doing. These warriors are bringing justice and peace to our land, to our region, to the world, step by step and house by house, despite the immorality of the Western world. So now, I want to address the delusional push by the Biden administration to try to impose a ceasefire upon us with Hezbollah. As the headlines are telling us, U.S. envoys arrive, advance Lebanon, ceasefire. So let me be very clear, everybody. There will be no U.S.-imposed ceasefire with Hezbollah, just as the Biden administration has failed to impose upon us a ceasefire with Hamas. Thankfully, our Islamo-Nazi enemies always say no to whatever deal is given to them, thanks to the masterful negotiating Netanyahu is doing to stand up for our interests, to defend ourselves and protect ourselves moving forward, while also trying to save as many captives as possible. Because we can never trust any international promises, ceasefires, or forces to ensure that we're protected. UNRWA has been working with Hamas in Gaza for decades, as UNIFIL has been working with Hezbollah in Southern Lebanon for decades. They're both United Nations organizations. We can only rely on our own military to ensure we are protected. We can't rely on the United Nations or even our allies who pretend to look after us. It's an absolute stain on the immorality of the Biden-Harris administration that they persist in attempting to force these immoral ceasefires on us, ignoring the fact that all previous international resolutions and forces not only didn't help protect us, but were used against us and allowed October 7th to happen. The international community is literally working with our enemies against us from doing what any normal country would do against an enemy that wants to destroy it. And our enemies are Islamo-Nazis. And let's be clear, you do not negotiate with Islamo-Nazis. You do not agree to ceasefires with Islamo-Nazis. You destroy Islamo-Nazis so they can never again raise their heads, gather forces, gather weapons, and attack us. Never again. We're done with the days of living with that terror and fear living amongst us. The only path forward is total victory over these threats, that they're gone. The fact that the Biden-Harris administration, since October 7th, since the beginning, has been focused on stopping Israel from doing what we have to do to defeat Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, and all of our Islamo-Nazi enemies shows clearly that they have no interest in allowing us to properly end the Islamo-Nazi evil we have to put up with every day. They prefer to keep us vulnerable and weak, always on the defense. They'll give us weapons to be on the defense, but don't you dare use the weapons we give you to go on the offense and defend your enemies. But the massacre of October 7th made a huge impact on the Jewish people in Israel. It woke up the masses. We must put an end to this Islamo-Nazi evil and finally have total victory. That is the will of the Jewish people in the Jewish state of Israel today. That is why we risk the lives of our loved ones, our holy IDF soldiers, to eliminate this evil and restore true peace and security to our lives. Now, I understand geopolitically why Netanyahu engages in these ceasefire talks, to let the Biden-Harris administration and the world know that Israel is listening to them and working with them to try to achieve a ceasefire, but to then ultimately give us the legitimacy we need on the world stage to press on and finish the mission, because it's our enemies who keep on saying no, not us. But make no mistake, the people of Israel, we are fed up with the immorality coming from the enlightened, moral Western world and led by the Biden-Harris administration, which seems intent on preventing us from achieving the full victory necessary to protect our people and restore our land to true peace and security. And you know me, folks, the only true total victory in any war is by reclaiming the land that our enemies are fighting us from and making them pay a price in losing that land. So yes, total victory is if and when we remain in Gaza and Southern Lebanon forever. It might start out just being IDF forces there, but ultimately, yeah, we're going to be reclaiming and resettling Gaza and Southern Lebanon, making Gaza Jewish again. Again, I have this video showing the Jewish history of Gaza, and we're going to make Southern Lebanon Jewish again. That is total victory. And for those who are not familiar, Southern Lebanon are the areas that belong to the Jewish tribes of Asher and Naphtali from the 12 tribes. Just go back to your Bible. So yeah, Southern Lebanon is Jewish, and we have to make it Jewish again also. And it's in order to protect us and make a safer Middle East and protect the whole freedom-loving world. Am Yisrael Chai, folks. Pray for our holy, holy soldiers. Strengthen your faith. And if you're not yet a subscriber to our Pulse of Israel videos, where you get the belief-based, inspiring, politically incorrect truth about Israel, the Jewish people, and the freedom-loving world, what are you waiting for? Click to subscribe on pulseofisrael.com. And yes, we're a donor-based operation. We need your donations because we're heavily censored on all social media platforms and shadow banned. It's thanks to your donations that our videos can be made and be seen by as many people as possible. So every once in a while, click on the donate button on pulseofisrael.com. Shalom, everyone, and thanks for watching.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.